Ayuda Media Systems is a software company. We develop and sell software to the digital out-of-home industry, so we focus on ad networks. So a lot of the vendors here have a specialty either towards retail, either towards corporate messaging. We focus on ad networks. So our clients are ad operators, and what we have is a whole platform that helps them with their entire workflow from A to Z, and that includes sales, proposal generation, customer relationship management, invoicing, financials, business intelligence. Oh, and by the way, we have a content management system and a player. So what we do is really enable the whole workflow for an out-of-home organization, and we also manage the digital piece as an isolated last element. We're seeing a lot of importance on HTML5. We're seeing a lot of importance on Android as an operating system for players. I actually think HTML5 is going to be more important than the operating systems. And the reason I say that is because I'm not convinced that we're going to have the concept of a software player or even a hardware player down the road for digital signage. I actually think that screens are going to come built in with browser capabilities, and the browsers now have fantastic HTML5 support with full CSS3 animations and H.264 video encoding, and they can handle vectors and rasters and do all that beautiful compositing all inside HTML5. And so what I think is going to happen a few years out is we're not going to probably have the need for players. You know, it's kind of like 100 years ago when we started having electricity. If we had trade shows back then, we would probably have trade shows about resistors and capacitors and and transistors, and the whole concept of having parts like players and all that's going to go away. And I think we're really going to focus more on the scenarios that we can actually offer to people to make their lives more enriched with digital out of home. In particular, how that ties into social media and all of these elements are going to become important. Well, it's interesting because 1 billion people have a Facebook account today, and about 60% of those are using Facebook on a mobile device, whether it be an iPhone or an Android device or a Windows Phone device. And if you think about that, that's staggering. So a scenario that's going to become really important is how will a digital out-of-home sign interact with your mobile device, and specifically social networking. Tying in those two media, social and digital out-of-home, will enable digital out-of-home to become far more intelligent. You can get much more relevant content pushed to you, and you can actually engage with the content in a much more meaningful way. We've had this outfit for the last 10 years. Our company colors are orange and blue. Our software is branded heavily with orange and blue, and that's where all that comes from. I know all about Gorilla Glass by Corning, and I think it's really exciting. I think it's certainly going to be the mechanism that we're probably going to interact with screens using a touch-capable surface such as the Gorilla Glass, and I'm imagining it's just the evolution of Gorilla Glass, right? I think that touch is going to be part of an everyday sort of scenario for digital out-of-home. I think that companies here that are really showing exciting scenarios on how touch and glass is going to be possible is Intel. Intel's doing some exciting stuff. If you look at their vending machines, if you look at their refrigerators, and I think that what's interesting there is, again, if you can tie that into social, imagine you can go to a vending machine and you want to buy something, and you can actually see which of your friends liked what you're about to buy or recommend what you're about to buy. Can we tie that into Facebook's Open Graph? Those kinds of scenarios I think are really exciting, and tying search is by far the richest experience in delivering that to the user. Well, we pride ourselves on being a bit different than most digital signage software vendors in the sense that we don't focus exclusively on the content management system piece to the player. We don't think that's the exciting scenario. Pushing content to screens is a solved problem. We solved it several years ago. Instead, what we focus on, because we sell solutions to ad networks, is we cover the entire workflow, such as how do you generate proposals? How does a sales rep for an ad network check availability? What does it mean to check avails for digital? Are you selling the spot, the loop? Are you selling an audience? These are hard problems to solve. Generating the invoice, managing the contract, having business intelligence so you can see where your most lucrative or non-lucrative locations are. And we also offer the content management system and the player. But I think where we really focus on is on the entire spectrum. And new technologies that we're adding in context of adding to that workflow and that spectrum is we are challenging the need for a player. We're saying that HTML5 is the new runtime. Companies before had to build players on top of operating systems and runtimes such as .NET and Java, and we're saying that HTML5 now has all the rendering capabilities that the previous runtimes were required. So we have at this show something we're showing which is called the No Player Player. And it's very much a concept demonstration, but the idea is you can go into our CMS, our content management system, and rather than managing a player, you generate a player. And generating a player, what that does is it generates a URL. And that URL is now the player. So you can navigate on any HTML5 enabled browser and you can actually see your loop and your content being played. You no longer have to install a player. And the reason why I think that's relevant is when you go to Best Buy today, you can buy for $300 a fantastic screen from Samsung, and all of these new screens all come with built-in operating systems that have a browser. So for digital signage, will you still need to have a computer that you plug your screen into? I mean, if these screens are now being sold with browsers and you don't need a player because HTML5 is the new player runtime, we're challenging the whole existence of a player altogether. So we're showing that at the show. We're also showing something new, which is an add-on to our digital signage suite, which is our digital signage product, Splash. We've developed a social insights package, which allows our clients, who are ad operators, the ability to sell to their clients, the advertiser, campaigns that tie into social media, and we can track metrics that tell our clients how many people interacted with the digital sign. So what we do is when you see when you have content from, let's say, Starbucks, they can have redemption programs like this creative, for example. And if they do that, what happens is our app takes over and we tie into Open Graph, and with that we can actually log demographics of how many people like the campaign. That's different than being able to go into Facebook and looking at insights from Facebook, because there you can't tell how many of your likes came from Facebook website or from the board, from the digital sign. We intercept all that and we can build a dashboard that shows you social insights on your creative. All of our clients really, really want to figure out how to tie into social. And they get that request from their clients, the advertisers. We sell to operators, and our clients' clients are the advertisers. So ESPN, Microsoft, Apple, they all are trying to figure out how they can tie in digital out-of-home content to social. And so we're working on how we can make our digital product an enabler to those kinds of scenarios. It's been great. Every year it just keeps getting better and better. I think what's exciting about the show this year is people are talking about how to get content to screens, and they're looking more into scenarios that can really add value to people's lives using digital signage. And I think that's what's been missing in the last few years. We usually bring about 6 people, and I think this year we are 6. So you'll see us with our orange suits and orange shirts and pants. That's us. We're here at the 2013 Digital Signage Expo. It's the best show ever. We're seeing awesome scenarios, and I look forward to many years to come.